All right, my friend, hello and welcome in. Day 25 now of our 40-day walk through Abraham's life of faith. And we've been walking a dark path, a cautionary tale the last few days. And that continues and really comes to a conclusion today. We're here to read and react to Genesis 19:30 through 38, where the tragic, shocking, stomach turning conclusion of Lot's story happens. And we've already seen, here's a little connection. We've already seen Abraham father a child outside of God's plans for him, with much pain as the result. And today we see that Lot becomes a father too. It's delicate. It's something you don't even want to see. You want to turn away. But let's try to do our best to use our reactions to help us find something here, to understand the story, to understand God, and understand ourselves. I'll show you my GYRs in a minute. But for now, if you haven't read already, go ahead, hit pause, and do that now. Okay, this is definitely the TVMA section of Lot's story, or the Genesis story. It's not the only one, but this may be one of the darkest little sections, honestly, of the entire Bible. That's not a power ranking we want to get into, but I'm going to say top 5, probably top 10 at least, right? And so, of course, it's shocking and it's appropriate to be shocked by it. But we got to kind of ask ourselves a little bit of the why. Like, why is this story in here? What does it tell us about a life of faith with God? What can we get from it? And remember, as always, not everything the Bible describes is something it agrees with. We're seeing that today in spades. This is, in fact, a cautionary tale. And so, but there's also an explanatory tale, if that makes sense. But let me show you what I mean. I'll show you my yellow today. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I's got no greens. This is, everything about this is black. This is not a day where we see something that is really positive and uplifting, but it is instructive. And here's my yellow for today. It has to do with this section right here. Okay, this is really interesting because it actually helps us understand a little bit of one reason why this whole story is here, the story of Lot and his daughters. It's giving us backstory on a couple of the nation of Israel's perennial mortal enemies. This is where they come from. We got one nation known as the Moabites, and then we've got another nation known as the Ammonites. It's kind of cool also here in all the gross is this little word here, now known, now known. What this tells us is that the narrator of this Genesis story is further ahead in the timeline than the events that are taking place right now. And so, the traditional view is that Moses wrote these first 5 books down from a combination of, oral history, written history passed down through the generations, maybe even written down in some way at some times. And so this kind of fits, right? It's just you kind of see a little bit under the hood. The narrator of the story inspired by God. That's my personal belief. The Bible is God inspired through human authors, and the human author lives at a time later. It's just kind of cool to see. And it also shows that the human author, let's say Moses, with God's inspiration, wants us to understand where these two people groups, the Moabites and the Ammonites, come from. That's got me curious why they're named this. Moab and Ben Ami, all of that is it helps kind of anchor why this horrible story is here on the pages of the Bible. That's inside the big picture. Now, my red for today, I'll show you my red. It's here we go. It's this. We've had a couple days like this where the whole shooting match is red. Wow, yuck, no. And sad, not only are the actions in the story stomach turning, but the result is too. As we talked about yesterday, we the New Testament gave us insight into Lot's mind and his heart, and we know from that Lot is this tortured soul, conflicted. But rather than run from the desire to integrate himself into Sodom, man, he dug in deep. And we're seeing today, not only him, but as a result, his family, his wife, his daughters, their hearts, what they loved and longed for, how they approached life as their sexuality, in the case of the daughters here, shows. They were deeply embedded in the Sodom mindset, and it is so tragic and so uh, vomit inducing. The whole thing's red for me. What about you? What do you see? What do you want to talk about? How you react? And let me know. Drop it here on the page. Drop it here in our Facebook group as well. And then we'll circle back from there with a few more insights to maybe bring something from this story into our world and put it to use in some way. We have to. It's too bad to not try to get something good from it.